Welcome, everybody. Andrew Raffel and Brian Hartstein. How are you this summer?
Hot, but glad to be here.
And a lot of you wanted to attend our CPA event in June, just summer schedules, you couldn't do it. So we thought today we could talk real high level on what Brian discussed in that wonderful lunch and learn at Seasons 52. So let's jump in.
Yeah, so we did a quick review of multiple entity planning and also tackled affiliated service group rules and control group rules because those rules can create all kinds of problem for business owners. So we did a quick recap of what those rules meant and then also how to do what we call multiple entity planning within the scope of those rules and then maybe outside the scope of those rules.
So out of those that you guys hit upon, I mean, what were the major updates that we saw in 2023?
Sure. And when we're looking at those rules, I don't want to go through all the code sections, but there's basically a section that determines whether you're considered a single employer or a multiple employer. And then there's other sections that help you meet those tests, which determine whether you're a single or multiple employer. But in the new Secure 2.0, we did have an update where you can now disregard community property rules for spouses. So we no longer have aggregation between spouses, and therefore some different types of design can work within pension plans.
Wonderful. And so what about multiple entity planning? Why do we care about it? Talk to us.
Well, it's one of those areas where if you're not aware of the rules and how they work for your client, it could create tremendous problems and also cost your clients money. And at the same time, if you have a keen understanding of those rules, there are planning opportunities for those clients, meaning you might be able to utilize those rules and create real effective tax planning, reduction of liability, decrease of risk, and a much happier client.
So if those opportunities, they sound great. I mean, is there not a real world example, but is there some simple example that you've seen in the past where that, or what they should be looking at with their clients, what you guys should be looking at? What are some of those things?
Sure. And, normally you're dealing with an individual or family that owns one or more entities, C corporations, LLCs, S corporations. Clients of ours will come in, they'll have multiple entities, but they may not understand how the ownership rules and also what we call the affiliated service rules might cause them to be aggregated together into one employer for benefit purposes. And conversely, how do maybe we fall outside the scope of those rules and be able to very, very rich planning for the people we really care about and not fall afoul of the rules?
Yeah. And part of what we've seen over the years is some of these entities that have created some retirement planning, not knowing the multiple entity planning rule, and they've run afoul of it without them even knowing it. And then what happens? You've got to go in and try to fix what's broken.
Of course. So you have to go backwards and fix all the pension plan that you've done where you didn't include the right amount of employees, or you've left opportunities on the table where maybe you didn't have to include a group and you're able to reward another group. And depending on the facts, you might be able to kind of walk by significant tax savings and planning opportunities.
And then as we look to the end of this year, are there any other potential updates that may get passed? What are you thinking?
Well, they've kind of tackled some of the things they need to tackle in terms of how these structures work. There's going to be some pension and legislative updates because, of course, they came out with things before which weren't clear. So some of the things that our clients are tackling in the 401k area may get kicked to 2025, but we're not sure.
Yep.
So we're still working our ways through that. And so I would say, stay in touch with, anybody in the pension world, a good ERISA attorney or financial, professionals like us who stay on top of those rules.
Wonderful. When those updates, if they do happen or the laws pass, we'll be the first to let you know.
Thanks. We're looking forward to it.
All right. Happy planning, everybody. We'll hope to see you all at the Fall CE CPA learning event at Seasons 52.
Stay tuned for year-end tax planning.
Super. All right, guys. Have a great summer. We'll talk soon.